Veteran Affairs Minister Ron Mark says he needs to be tighter with his words after a speech he gave at a charity event may have been misinterpreted as a pitch for votes and linked to ongoing funding. In video excerpts of the speech given to a No Duff event in December, the minister says if the Defence Force family and others threw New Zealand First their party vote, they would probably be at 15 or 16%. Mr Mark says No Duff got $25,000 of government funding courtesy of him. And he also said he hoped they recognised the responsibility that came with that. I spoke to Ron Mark and asked him if he'd been canvassing for votes when he was actually at the event in his capacity as a minister.
No, it wasn't. That assertion that's been made is wrong. It's incorrect. And I guess if you slice and spice...
In what way? In what way is it incorrect?
Well, it is incorrect. I wasn't campaigning for their votes. OK,
let's look at some of the words that you said. If all of the Defence Force family and everyone, Aaron and everyone else in the Defence Force, threw us their party vote, we'd probably be at 15 or 16%. The other comment you made is, to be perfectly honest, when I look at the polling results of my political party, New Zealand First, then the veterans, the defence base, you guys haven't supported us at all. Is that a pitch for their votes?
Well, there are two separate statements made about 5 minutes apart and talking, and taken out of the context, Lisa. And and I do admit this, as I said in the House today. Looking back on that, I could have been tighter. I will be in future.
That's a pitch for votes, isn't it? That's a pitch for votes, Minister. You were making it clear. Hey, look, we didn't get the party percentage vote that we wanted. We could have gotten way more if you voted for us, and you haven't thrown your support behind us. No, it's a clear message, isn't it?
Well, I think if you listen to the entire 25 minutes and listen to those two quite separate statements within the context of what I was explaining, then you have a different picture to that which has been painted now.
Well, the people at the event were, they've said to us, shocked and surprised by the comments that you've made, and they sat through your speech and that's their reaction. So what do you say to that?
That's one person who said that, and No Duff has actually put a statement up on their Facebook page today, which I'm quite humbled by, and that statement doesn't reflect that one person's statement, Lisa.
So who's Aaron, and why did you reference him?
Look, I'm not going to go into... Look, Aaron was one of the founding members. He's a...
So why did you call him out for not voting for you? Why did you call him out for that?
I didn't. Well, Lisa, that's a are you saying I called him out for not voting for me?
Well, you said these words. If all the Defence Force family and everybody, Aaron and everybody else in the Defence Force, threw us their party vote, we'd probably be 15 or 16%.
Yeah, so in the context of, that's a comment where it's often made when people are asking for greater delivery and things that are not contained within the coalition agreement. And like I said, and I have referred to that and said, if we had more support, we could negotiate harder in coalition agreements. That's a fact. We don't have New Zealand First policy on the ground. We have a coalition agreement. And of course, if you receive more support, then you would have been able to negotiate, arguably more. But Aaron has been a tremendous force in behind No Duff. He's one of the founding members. Him and I talk a lot. Aaron was
so why did you name him in this context when you were talking about this? Because he's told us that he's only ever spoken to you about twice. So why did you call him out, or why did you mention him in this particular?
Just say it again. Aaron said to you that he's only ever spoken to me twice.
Yeah.
Seriously? Look, I'm not going to go into that, Lisa. Aaron is a great guy. He's one of the founding members of No Duff. No Duff is the organisation that I recognised, this government recognised as being worthy of funding for the frontline work they do.
That doesn't explain why you mentioned him in that context. Can you explain that to me specifically?
Because I was talking to him. Aaron introduced me. He said, "Ron, do you want to get up and say a few words?" And he and I talk a lot.
So was this quid pro quo for the funding? Well, the perception that you were asking for votes, you mentioned the money that you had secured for No Duff. You said No Duff got that funding courtesy of me. were your words. And you also said, I'd like you to recognise that and the responsibility that comes with it.
So now you're bringing two statements together, Lisa.
Well, what did you mean by those statements?
What did I mean by recognise the responsibility? Yeah. There is a responsibility when any non-government agency receives government funding to account for that, to make sure that they deliver on the service that they've been provided for, that they've been asked to deliver on. Recognising also that No Duff has been quite astonishingly successful. Within 2 years of being established, they have gained recognition as being the prime deliverer of frontline services to service women and men suffering from PTSD.
So are you saying that you were in no way...
I took the paper to Cabinet asking for approval to fund them for the first time ever. Contrast, as I said in my speech, if you contrast that with the RSA, who took 90 years to get government funding, No Duff has done exceptionally well. But it brings
Minister, can you see how some people, and in your view it might be the wrong impression, but can you see how some people might get the impression you're talking about the fact that you've secured the funding courtesy of them, there's responsibility involved in that, and you're making those comments in the same speech where you mention the fact that, well, if they all threw their weight behind you, you could get 15 to 16% in the party vote. Can you see how some people might think that you are attaching the funding to their support in some way? Can you see that?
No, look, what I can also... I've already said that I could...
Inconceivable that they would draw that conclusion?
No, I think slicing and dicing pieces out of a 25-minute speech in such a manner could lead people to believe that, Lisa. But actual fact, was not my intent. And here's the other thing.
Has the Prime Minister had a chat to you about this?
Yeah, I've talked to the Prime Minister, and
what
I've
she
got to thank her. I've got to thank. Well, she said it all in the House today at question time.
No, what she said to you privately.
She asked me to explain, and she asked me around what occurred there. I told her that I could have been, on hindsight, looking back at it, I could have been tighter, and I will be in future. That I will learn from this. But
what
Lisa,
concerns did she raise with you about the contents of that speech?
No, she just asked me a couple of questions around the 2
What were
points
those
that
questions?
the media were making. The 2 points that the media are making is that I crossed the line in terms of mixing party with a ministerial speech or a ministerial engagement, and I accept that. And we'll be tighter in that respect. I'll turn up to such meetings with clearly a New Zealand First hat on one day or a minister's hat on another day.
So you accept that you mixed those two things, Minister. You were, well, forwarding a New Zealand First agenda when you were at a reception in your capacity as a minister.
No, I think I could have been tighter.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Could have been tighter?
I could have been tighter, and I could allow a perception to be generated, which has been, championed by certain people for whatever advantage. But
because the Cabinet Manual requires you to, to protect the integrity and maintain public trust in the position of ministers. It goes on to say that you must be seen to uphold the highest ethical standards, exercising a professional approach and good judgment in your interactions with the public. Did you exercise good judgment here and a professional approach?
I thought I did at the time, yes.
But now?
Now I think I need to be tighter, and I need to...
I don't know what you mean by tighter, Minister. What do you mean by being tighter?
I just need to be tighter in my wording and be clear in my own mind that when I'm speaking as a minister, I speak as a minister.
Minister Ron Mark there. Now, just to clarify, Aaron Wood of No Duff says he actually had 3 conversations with the minister. One of those was at the event where Ron Mark spoke. The pair met almost 20 years ago when Aaron was a serving soldier in East Timor.